How's it going, my guys, gals, non-binary pals, and nerds everywhere? Welcome back to Nerd Explosion, the weekly podcast where, based on a monthly theme, I nerd out about whatever I want. As always, I'm your host, Cameron, and as you can clearly hear, I'm better, or see, I guess, because, fun fact, I actually figured out a way to upload these to YouTube as well without having to do, actually film myself. It's a whole thing with RSS feeds and everything. It's yada yada. But basically, you can listen to this on YouTube now because of, YouTube's whole podcast thing. But yeah, like I said, I'm feeling a lot better than I was. I don't sound like absolute garbage anymore. And, I'm ready to get back into the swing of things. But there is going to be a thing with this episode. I know I said I was going to do Reddit month, for the rest of January. But there have been some things that have happened over the past few days. And it's just been really on my mind. And I really want to talk about it because I feel like I want to give my own perspective on it, in case you didn't see, or in case you've been living under a rock. I mean, you could gather from the title because the title is already going to give it away. I don't even know what I'm about to title it yet, but I'm sure it's going to explain what I'm about to talk about. That being, today I'm going to be talking about the recent trend of YouTubers retiring from YouTube. Today, I just want to kind of give an explanation of, what's going on, who's leaving and everything, why they're leaving, and kind of my personal take on this stuff, and what I think that means for YouTube going forward. And this is kind of just a different episode for me, because usually I have this is this thing, I'm going to talk about this thing, and then I'm going to, just mosey on out. But this is kind of different for me because this is more of a perspective thing, and I just kind of want to, just kind of speak what's on my mind about this whole YouTube thing. But before I get into that, new episodes of this podcast come out every Saturday, so, do all the things and do all the stuff on all the platforms that does the things, you know what I mean? But with that, let's talk about what's going on with YouTube, shall we? So to give you guys kind of a recap of what's been happening over the past few days, a handful of YouTubers have announced that they're either stepping away from YouTube for a little bit or just stepping away just altogether, for good. When I first heard about this whole, deal, is because I'm subscribed to the Game Theorist, Game Theory, and MatPat posted a video on his channel that is titled Goodbye Internet, and I'll just play it a little clip at the beginning because this is how he starts it.
It's not clickbait. On March 9th, I will be hosting my last Theory episode, at which point I will be handing off the channels to someone else.
Yeah, he goes on the rest of the video to kind of explain himself, his whole situation, but after seeing that, I found out that MatPat isn't the only one that's apparently stepping away from YouTube. Looking at this article from Junkie, because they're giving their own opinion on the thing. Who else? Tom Scott, who has 6.37 million subscribers. He announced that he's going to stop making videos after doing this for 10 years. Another YouTuber, Joel Haver, with 1.94 million subscribers, said that he's done posting weekly short films. Animator Meat Canyon said he was stepping back, and he's at 6.69 million. And Captain Sparkles, some of you may know who he is. Captain Sparkles said that he's retiring from YouTube as well. It says on here Minecraft gameplay, but I don't know if that's specifically Minecraft or he's stepping away from YouTube in general. Another one in December was a YouTuber by the name of Stampy Lawnhead, who also does Minecraft stuff. And basically what it is a lot of these people are just kind of quitting YouTube for the same reason. Either the workload has just gotten way too much for them, or it's just the fact that they've been doing this for so long, and it's finally time to be okay, let me just hang this up and let the next person come in. And like I said, I started hearing about this whole ordeal from MatPat's videos, from him stepping away from Game Theory. And in the video, I could scroll through the video right now, but that would take me a while. But in this video, he basically explains that he is stepping away and handing over the reins of like doing videos to other people in his team, not just one new person, but like 4 more people. I think he said he's doing. And he goes on to explain in this video what is happening with my computer. No, I don't want HP Smart to start doing anything with my computer, you psycho. Anyway, MatPat explains that basically over the past like decade plus of doing Game Theory and all the other channels they have, that it's basically all his life has been about. His life has just been about doing YouTube and stuff. Like, he actually gets really emotional talking about his relationship with his wife, Stephanie. And he went on to say, like, for the past the past decade plus, his relationship with Stephanie has been pretty much business first. Like, they'll go out to dinner, and the only thing they'll talk about is, like, the next video, is making the next video. And he's tired of doing that. He also says that he's tired of, he just wants to be able to sit down and play a video game solely for, entertainment and having a good time, instead of playing a video game for work, basically. Because a lot of times, like, he'll play the new Five Nights at Freddy's game, or he'll play some other indie game, but while doing Game Theory, the only reason he's playing that game is to be like, oh, I gotta write this down, this is good lore, I gotta write this down. And essentially he's tired of that. He just wants to sit down and play a game just to enjoy it. He just wants to be able to play a game either by himself or with Stephanie or with his son. And the basic whole gist of it is, he's just, after a decade plus, he just wants to hang it up. He wants to step back. He's still gonna like be behind the scenes and stuff, but just not as hands-on as he is. Like, he's not gonna be the front and center person being like, hello internet, welcome to Game Theory. He's handing over that to like 4 other people, because they have 4 other channels. They have Game Theory, there's Food Theory, there's Style Theory, what did I say? Game Theory, Food Theory, Style Theory. Is that it? Do they have more channels? I can't remember if they have. Oh yeah, Film Theory. That's it. So Game Theory, Style Theory, Film Theory, and Food Theory. And he's basically, because he would do the videos for all 4 of those, with somebody on his team doing a different kind of show every once in a while. But basically what MatPat is saying is he's stepping back and letting other people take over. And while, yes, I am kind of sad to see him go, because it's kind of the end of an era, I do understand his reasoning, and I just wish him the best of luck. If I could go into the rest of this article, because they explain the reasoning for these other YouTubers leaving, basically. Like I said, for MatPat, he's just tired of he just wants to hang it up. Joel Haver isn't necessarily quitting YouTube, but it says here he will be focusing more on feature-length films instead of the weekly video grind. So I guess this guy, I've never heard of him before, but I guess he puts out short films every week. And he announced that he's going to be focusing more on making like bigger projects, taking more time to do bigger projects rather than, short film every single week. And that I get, I would rather take the time to do something good rather than every week just be like, oh, we got to get this out. We got to get this out. We got to get this out every single week. I mean, I do that with this podcast, but I feel like a podcast is different, especially the way I do it, because I just kind of get on here and I just kind of talk or whatever. Sometimes I do research on some stuff, but a lot of times I just get on here and talk. So I understand Like, but I do understand the whole thing of like, oh, I want to actually take the time to make a bigger, better project rather than shit something out every week, Let me get back into this. Let's see. Tom Scott. To quote this thing, Tom said it wasn't burnout specifically, but more that his life had become consumed by work and he wants to take a step back. So basically what I'm gathering from that is, he's been doing YouTube for so long that it's basically kind of consumed his life because contrary to what most people believe, YouTube are these people's jobs. Like they get paid to do this. And it seems like Tom Scott is basically, he's let it consume his life and he is taking a step back before, stuff gets too weird. Animator Meat Canyon said, to quote this, Meat Canyon said he wants to work on original content rather than the cartoon parodies he's known for. Meat Canyon, if you don't know, I've seen a couple of his animations. He makes like really weird, messed up animations. But I guess he announced that he wants to make more like original content rather than just doing parodies of stuff over and over again, because he's done it for so long and he's like, you know what, I want to focus more on my original content. And then that seems to be a theme with a lot of these other people. They want to focus on different content or more original content rather than just the stuff they feel like they have to shit out every week. And I can really understand where they're coming from, because if you're doing the same thing every week for who knows how long, then I didn't see how it gets pretty boring. So, with who was it, Joel Haver, working on feature-length films rather than the weekly video grind. I didn't understand, if you do short films every week, eventually you're gonna run out of steam for that, and it makes a lot more sense to put more of your energy into a bigger project rather than a small thing. I know I'm probably repeating myself, but that's kind of what happens when I try to get all like different thoughts. I have all these different thoughts in my head and they all want to come out at the same time. But my whole thing with a bunch of these YouTubers, like, I know it personally doesn't affect me, so that's kind of where I'm at. But also with these YouTubers, like, I kind of, if you need to take a step back, you need to take a step back. I would rather see somebody, either just hang it up or take a break rather than work themselves to death. Because, I mean, that's kind of my whole work ethic just in general. I would rather see somebody just take it easy, take it one step at a time. And if it's getting way too much, then like, all right, let's take a step back, let's stop for a while and then regroup. I would rather see that than, eventually it take over somebody, because at the end of the day, mental health is a lot more important than, getting content out there. And I could definitely see for like Matt Pat, for Meat Canyon, for all these other guys like Captain Sparkles, they didn't list his reasoning for leaving, but I just see a big thing for like all these guys, like once they take a step back, just seeing how their mental health changes after, being away from stuff. And because YouTube, and this is the next point I'm going to get into, YouTube is kind of a different place. It's different. It's changed so much over the past 10 years. There's actually a couple of videos I've found from other creators kind of talking about this whole thing. One I follow, Mr. Ethan Nestor, formerly known as Crank Gameplays. He did a video giving his old 2 cents on it. And I found another video by Trey Yates, who is an editor for Sean McLaughlin, otherwise known as Jacksepticeye. And if I can, I'll play a clip from both of their videos just to kind of give you an idea of what their take is on the matter.
And so I know that a bunch of people are talking about this right now, but I also just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents and give you my thoughts as not only a YouTuber, but a YouTuber that has been on the platform for over a decade now. Just off the cuff, I wish absolutely nothing to the best to MatPat, to Tom Scott, to Captain Sparkles, Meat Canyon, everybody who has sort of been coming out and saying that they're taking a step back, either for a short while and just want to focus on personal projects, or stepping down sort of like for good and saying like, this is the end. I fully support that decision, and I am so proud of all the people for doing that, because it takes a lot to come to that conclusion, one, but to also actually post that video and have a firm like, okay, this is it. I've been making YouTube videos now for close to 12 years. I started when I was 15 years old. I am now 27. I started in 2012 making videos. And while there's a part of me that's like, wow, time has really flown by, there's also another part of me that's like, yeah, I've been doing this for a really long time, and there are so many people who have been doing it as long as I have, or way, way, way longer. Like Smosh, I think, is 18 years old now, which is insane. Again, MatPat has been doing it for 13 years. Mark, I think, has been doing it for 12. Sean, I think, for 11 or 12 as well. There are so many channels that have been doing YouTube for over a decade now. The platform of YouTube, obviously, it's growing and it's aging. And the people that started out on the platform are getting to a point where they're like, okay, I've been doing this for a while now, and I think I'm ready to move on.
So I think Ethan definitely brought up some really good points in that. He said something like, a lot of these people have been doing YouTube for years and years. Like some of the current people, some of the biggest YouTubers out there right now have been doing this for years. Like Smosh is probably one of the oldest channels that are on YouTube currently. Like they've been around for like 18 years. Rhett and Blank, I know I've been doing this since like 2005. They've been around for a while. Like you said, he said he's been doing it for like 12 years. Markiplier's been doing this for like 12 years. Sean's Jacksepticeye has been doing it for like 11. And there comes a time where eventually, these people they're gonna have to hang it up. I also like that he mentioned, the bravery it takes to be able to post that video, because I'm sure a lot of these people are like, after doing this for so many years, it's very emotional and kind of very vulnerable just to go out there to, millions of people and just be like, hey, I know you enjoy my content, but I'm done. And it takes, I'm sure it takes a lot of bravery to say that. It takes a lot of bravery just to be like, hey, I'm stepping back. Like I need to be done. So I agree with Ethan. I definitely applaud those kind of people. I appreciate anybody who is able to, after for so long on YouTube, able to come out and just be like, hey, I know you guys have been enjoying my content for years, but I think it's finally time that I hang it up. And a normal community member, somebody with, a right sense of mind will just be like, oh, well, I'm sad to see you go, but as we all know, nothing is forever. So good luck in your future endeavors. And that's another thing I started thinking about with this whole thing. I'll get to that point in a second, but, I'll get to what I was thinking in a second. I do also want to play a clip from Trey Yates, because he actually kind of goes into what he thinks the problem is with YouTube, and basically like a good reason why a lot of these creators are leaving. Like most of them, like I'm sure all of them, when they talk about their reasoning for leaving, they're not really, they're not bullshitting, or they may be hiding some of the truth. But Trey Yates here actually kind of goes into, some of the what might be kind of the other like unknown, not talked about problem that, is the reason behind some of these YouTubers are leaving.
The reason why I'm making this video is in response and in addition to this video that Ludwig posted 4 hours ago. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip.
But I think the reality is that when you start becoming a YouTuber, you have the dream of wanting to become a YouTuber, you just throw shit at the wall. Whatever it is, whatever creatively you are good at, or you think is funny or fun or helpful to the world, you just keep doing it. MatPat had game theory, but you get the idea. When something sticks, You do it.
He hits the nail on the head right there. And I wanted to add on to it by talking about YouTube's biggest problem for years and years now. And that's that they want everything automated. For proof of what I'm saying, upload a video that has any pop song in it. Start reacting to TikToks or something and upload those to your channel. You know when a creator says that they can't upload that day because something got copyright claimed or something got age restricted? That's what I'm talking about. That wasn't by a human. That was by YouTube's algorithm and AI and the robot behind the scenes claiming their video automatically. Now that's kind of besides the point. We need to get back to MatPat because the algorithm behind the scenes is making the rules and making sure that the machine is still running. And therein lies the problem with why MatPat got burnt out, why he's taking a step back to behind the scenes so he can work on game theory, food theory, film theory, all of those projects. It's because when he found his stride, it worked for him. And the algorithm wanted him to keep going and doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's the issue. The algorithm wanted MatPat to be the machine, but he's not. As much of a hard worker as MatPat is, and as much as people put him on a high pedestal, MatPat is still a human. And that's happening with every single creator. I know it happens for Sean too. I mean, we talk about it all the time, how he's getting overworked and stressed. And I mean, I feel it sometimes too. And it's scary doing it that way because sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you have a video that doesn't bang as much. And that's terrifying whenever you need to keep your channel alive.
So he brings up the fact that YouTube's algorithm has changed. And while I definitely disagree that MatPat is being burnt out, that could be the truth. I have really no idea. I don't know MatPat personally. I kind of wish I did. He seems like a cool dude. But I definitely don't agree with the whole burnout thing. And I more so agree with the fact that he's been doing this for so many years. But I do agree with the whole point of, the algorithm now, YouTube's algorithm now is definitely not helping creators in the slightest, because when YouTube started out, it was a lot easier for people to, go viral. It was a lot easier for people to, find an audience. But then YouTube started being more corporate and started shoving ads down people's throat, which is I'm sure a lot of people are done with YouTube ads, but personally, I fucking despise YouTube ads because I can't get through one video. I can't get through a 15-minute video without 5-6 ads in it. I especially hate the ones that will shove like 4 at you at the same time, and not just 4 ads, 4 non-skippable ads. It's oversaturated at this point. But no, YouTube I believe has become more corporate. It's become a bigger thing. It's, partnered or owned by Google now. And the whole thing, it's just, that has also affected how YouTube, behind the scenes handles videos and how it has their whole copyright system, because YouTube is infamous for their kind of shitty copyright system where it'll detect something weird in somebody's video and just take it down, or give somebody a copyright strike. And basically it's harder for people to upload what they want because YouTube is like, oh, well, we got this thing and this thing and this thing. And while I do agree that it's important to have policies and stuff, obviously people can't just upload anything. YouTube, you can upload anything, but you can't upload anything, you can't just upload a video of you beating a cat to death, because that is not okay. That is a literal crime. And YouTube would just be like, all right, this person uploaded a video of their cat, boop boop boop, hello FBI. But obviously there are some rules, but the problem with that is that it doesn't seem like actual people are implementing these rules. And that's also to the point of obviously you can't expect humans to monitor every single video that goes up on YouTube, because there's probably thousands to millions of videos a day that go up on YouTube. And a lot of them, it's an automated system. It's an AI system that has to look at these videos and be like, this is okay to, post publicly to the internet. But the problem is that, what needs to happen, and Trey actually explains this later in the video, that somebody needs to be there to actually fix the problem when the algorithm messes up. Because what seems to be happening is when the algorithm messes up and punishes somebody unfairly, there's no actual human behind that'll be like, oh, sorry, this messed up, we'll fix that. Sometimes they do, very rarely do they, but most of the time it seems like YouTube just leaves their whole policy thing, their copyright thing, up to AI, and that has nothing to do with, kind of has something to do with algorithm, but algorithm is a whole different thing. So like the algorithm, basically YouTube will push what it wants to push, and nowadays that's more like corporate stuff, like these companies and like late night talk show hosts and like different stuff from channels and stuff. And it's kind of gotten ridiculous because the algorithm is, focusing more on these things that like, oh, these corporations that will pay us money, or we'll pay these big corporations money to do stuff on YouTube, or people that'll just bend to every whim that YouTube has, and that stuff gets pushed more so that the stuff you actually want to see, or the stuff that the channels that you're subscribed to, a lot of that gets kind of pushed to the side because the algorithm is like, no, you want this instead, and we're just sitting here like, no, we really don't. And that kind of algorithm it's not just on YouTube, it's like on TikTok and pretty much anywhere. Algorithms is just weird in general. Like, I get the thought behind algorithms. You want something in place to be like, oh, this person likes this, we'll suggest more things like this to them. But sometimes, something goes wrong behind the scenes and you need somebody to be like, oh, let me just, smack that with a hammer a couple of times. That'll get her going, right? On YouTube, it's really bad because, like I said, this is English. This is an actual job for a lot of people, and if YouTube isn't pushing them and they aren't getting views, they aren't making money. There's actually a video from another person that I'm subscribed to on YouTube. She says he does a show called Boundary Break, which I find really entertaining because he basically takes like an out of bounds camera in video games and tries to find stuff like, what's his opening thing? Try to find discoveries and secrets in some of our hidden inside our favorite games. Basically, he analyzes like maps and games, like takes a camera, like a free camera, and explore stuff. But anyway, to my point, the other day, this was like quite a few weeks ago, he posted a video called SOS, and he kind of explains that, like, because of the whole YouTube algorithm, his channel is in danger. And he goes on to explain that, like, he does have a Patreon, and he's such a nice guy too. He's just like, you don't have to, but it would definitely really help out the channel. At some point in this video, he explains that, if worse comes to worse, he might have to pick up a day job, like a 9-to-5 job, and make Boundary Break a side hobby. So it sounds like he doesn't want to quit YouTube. He might have to get a different job, besides YouTube to, help him pay his bills because, like MatPat, this guy is married with a kid, and if YouTube's not paying him enough, then he's got to do something to provide. And this whole algorithm thing is just kind of ridiculous, and I think the solution is we need more people behind the scenes to, like, look at these things and be able to actually fix a weird fuck up when it happens, so that these smaller channels, or just every channel in general, doesn't get screwed by a shitty AI system, But I guess with the last thing I kind of want to go into in this episode is, okay, well, if, these other YouTubers have given reasons for them leaving, that got me thinking, what would some of these other YouTubers do once they leave YouTube? Like, what do they have to fall back on? So that got me thinking of like a lot of the YouTubers I follow, like Markiplier, Dame Drums, Rhett and Link, all these different YouTubers. Kind of thinking about like Markiplier. Obviously, he's done a lot with like film and stuff, and he's worked on big projects. Like he does gaming stuff a lot, but he's done like his projects like Heist of Markiplier, In Space of Markiplier. He's got a movie based off of the game Iron Lung that's coming out probably sometime this year, I would guess. But like if he left YouTube, well, first of all, the internet's gonna implode when he leaves YouTube. But when he leaves YouTube, I can definitely see him getting into like the film industry. I can see him being like a producer or an actor. I can definitely see him being in the film industry. It's in some form. Jacksepticeye, Sean McLaughlin. I can definitely see him because he's talked about how he really loves game design or sound design in video games. So I could definitely see him probably getting into game design and, getting into, just doing more passion projects. He's also done a lot of film stuff too. So I can maybe see him, excuse me, I could see him getting into the film industry as well. Speaking of Markiplier, I got to thinking of like one of his editors, Litzian. If Markiplier goes and Litzian has nobody to edit for, I could definitely see him focusing, putting more of his focus into making games, because he's made quite a few games already. So like if Markiplier left YouTube and Litzian is no longer editing for Mark, I could definitely see Litzian pouring all of his effort into game making and stuff, Who else? Game Grumps. So, Game Grumps, Aaron and Dan. I could see Aaron, Mr. Aaron Hansen, Mr. Aaron Egoraptor Hansen. I could see him going into voice acting for sure. Because he's a very skilled voice actor. I could definitely see him getting into, becoming like a full-time voice actor. Now, Dan Evidan, Lee Daniel Evadaniel, I could definitely see him. Well, he's already got like Ninja Sex Party. He's got his music career. So I would definitely see him pouring more into that for who knows however long he wants to do it. Let's see. Let me go back. Who else do I follow? I actually have my YouTube up right now. So who else do I have? Smosh, I definitely, I can't tell you what they would do because they just seem to keep growing and growing. Like I said, they've been doing this for 18 years and they've only gotten bigger and bigger. Just the thing with Smosh is it's not just like way back when it first started. It was just Ian and Anthony. And then they slowly gathered like more of a crew. And now they're like a whole ass team with like, a bunch of people behind the scenes, a bunch of people, in the scenes. So, like, if Ian and Anthony decide to leave, I could definitely see, like, the other people in Smosh, taking over. Rhett and Link, I could see the same thing for them. I just see the same thing for Rhett and Link. Because, again, like Smosh, Rhett and Link have a whole ass team. And I just see somebody take it over for Rhett and Link if something happens to them, because the show is just called Good Mythical Morning. It's not just called, Rhett and Link. It's not just them. Them by themselves, the two of them, they don't make the channel. It's the whole team behind them. Like all the people in Mythical Kitchen, I can see them, continuing. And I mean, this is all kind of like personal opinion. I have no idea what would actually happen to most of these people. Who else we got? What's another big YouTuber I have on here? Cinemasker. I'm kind of surprised the Angry Video Game Nerd, the guy behind Angry Video Game Nerd, I'm surprised he's still going. Because what was his first video? Well over a decade ago. But I think he'd been uploading way before that. He just, eventually found YouTube. His most recent video of Angry Video Game Nerd was 2 weeks ago. And I definitely am still surprised. I'm surprised that he's still going, but I think he's one of the people I could definitely see, hanging it up one of these years. There are a lot more people that, once they leave YouTube, like, who knows what they would do next. And I kind of hope a lot of people find something to do next because, they spent all these years, doing what they love and, getting all these skills and everything. And it definitely would be a good idea to, put those skills to use. But also, like, if you just want to hang it up and just spend the rest of your life just living a normal life and not having to constantly, do YouTube all the time, I totally get that too. I guess the last thing I have to think of is, what do I see happening for the future of YouTube? Now, with YouTube, I definitely feel like it's just going to keep going either way because it's a machine at this point. It's a machine that's just going to keep turning and turning and turning until, somebody decides to, put a stick in the gears and stop the whole thing. But as far as like more of these YouTubers leaving YouTube, I definitely think that like these people that have left YouTube currently, like, your Matt Pat, your Tom Scott, your Meat Canyon, these people that have, taken a step back or just retired from YouTube, I don't think that this is it for now. I feel like there is more to come, and 2024 is just going to be the start of it. 2024 is definitely the start. What I think is going to be the start of the downfall of YouTube, or just the end of a lot of YouTube careers, basically. Because I could definitely see more YouTubers coming out this year and being like, I'm done. Either that, or it could, over the next few years, I could definitely see a lot of big name YouTubers just being like, we're done. It's been a fun ride, but we're done. So I could definitely see a lot of bigger name YouTubers over the next few years leaving YouTube as well. And where does that leave YouTube? Now, I could see YouTube kind of hitting a low point if a lot of these big names leave, because that's taking a lot of people away from the platform and taking a lot of views away from the platform. And I can definitely see YouTube trying to do a last-ditch effort to salvage stuff, but eventually, like I said, it's a machine that's turning and turning, and eventually somebody's going to be the stick that gets stuck in the gears and, makes the whole thing implode on itself. So I guess my final thoughts is, all these YouTubers that are taking a step back or retiring or doing whatever, I wish them the best. I wish them, peace and whatever, and hopefully, you find joy in whatever you do next. And as far as the future of YouTube, I guess we'll see what happens. But I definitely think that this is just the beginning of what might be a mass exodus of YouTube creators. So, we'll see. We'll see over the next year, over the next few years, what happens with YouTube. But I think with that, I'm going to call this an episode. My throat is starting to get a little sore because, I'm not used to just, after a week of being sick, I'm not used to being able to actually talk for this long. But those are just my thoughts on YouTube. If you agree or disagree with me, definitely let me know on like social medias and stuff. Link is in the link tree in the description, my Twitter, both Twitters are in my link tree, my Twitter and my podcast Twitter. And, just let me know what you think, because I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing feedback, good or bad. If you love the episode, tell me you love the episode. If you think I suck, tell me I suck, because, come on. You gotta be open to criticism on these things. But yeah, just let me know, your thoughts on this whole YouTube thing. But I think with that being said, I'm going to call this an episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you listened this far, go get some water, do some positive things out there. I've been Cameron, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Stay weird, my friends.